green and shady and soft in the hurriedness of life. I know some of you might find that very welcoming, and that song always speaks to me. This idea of don't hurry, just be happy. I don't know, it's not as easy as it sounds. David, could you turn the sound down on the CD player? Thank you. So this new topic for June that we're working with, this idea to experience life as sacred, right in the middle of whatever is going on. Actually, it's a deep spiritual practice. It is a deep spiritual practice. That's why we call it practice, because it's not that easy to attain, because life gets pretty complex. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? Yes. And so we're working with the saying, the Zen saying, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water, and after enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. This idea that our work is to be awake in the middle of whatever it is we're doing. And we're all in a human walk in the world, which means we are all invited to remember the sacredness of our walk in the world while we're doing it. To live deeply, I like that invitation, live deeply, connected to this divine energy, and at the same time, to move lightly, not take things so darn seriously. Anybody taking life pretty seriously today? Yeah, I think we do that, especially when we don't feel good, especially when our bank accounts don't look all that exciting, especially when we're having trouble finding a job, especially when relationships don't look quite the way we want them to look. Stuff isn't out picturing quite the way we want it to. All of a sudden, it gets less easy to live life lightly. So we're going to talk about that. How do we find the divine in the everyday walk of life? Perfect for summertime, isn't it? Perfect for summertime. The idea, the ideal here, the expectation, the hope that we all bring to, June, July, August. I know that those of you who have children or grandchildren know summer vacation, school's out, right? People get married, people go on vacations, they have adventures. All kinds of different things happen during the summer. We have this built-in expectation about what summertime and the living is easy. Well, maybe. Maybe. Not always. Isn't that the truth? Summertime and maybe the living is easy. This kick-back, relaxed attitude, where our schedules change a little bit and we get to breathe a little easier. And it's possible. It's also possible in the darkest of winter. But we're talking about summer. And so Glenda and I are heading to England, as we mentioned, for a little rejuvenation, a little bit of restoration. Don't know where Robert's heading, but I guess he's going to be doing the same thing we're doing, trying to replenish and find that inner place within that allows him to restore himself, to stop the busyness of this experience that we call everyday life, so that we can take care of ourselves. That's part of what we need to do. And whether we do it by taking a vacation and set specific time aside, or we do it, Glenda was talking to me this morning about a particular practice that she's going to be trying out. This idea of stopping within whatever we're doing, whether we set aside a formal meditation time, or we have a practice, which is my practice of mindfulness, of breathing into the moment, stopping to remember when things get chaotic, whatever it is. This is part of what we can do in the busyness of life. Stop and take care of ourselves. So we're going to make a commitment to find a new way of seeing, a new way of being. We're opening to guidance as we move into our experience with our time in England. And we're going to be making a commitment to joy. A commitment to find the beauty and the grace in every moment while we're gone. And what I know is when we make that intention, when we hold that intention for a vacation, then when we come back into our everyday life, it's easier to make that commitment in every now moment. That's for sure. And so when we can make that commitment, sometimes happiness, this idea of happiness is just a spontaneous outcome of our intention to be more present, to open to the energy of God. We say it's all God, don't we? Don't we say everything's God? Well, sometimes I'll tell you what, stuff that shows up in my life, I don't think it looks like God. It looks like something else. But the truth is, it's what we teach, it's all God. It's all God. It's all the face of God. And so this idea of embracing life on life's terms, and then being able to set aside this experience of this time, this intention, this unhurried aspect of our life journey, so that we're not just running through our life always agitated, always trying to fix things, always trying to analyze things. You know, we've got these awesome brains, and that's what they do. But our work is to find a way to align the pulse of the brain, this smart part of us, with the pulse of our heart, which is this energy of the divine, so that it's all working together, so that we're not just frantically running around trying to fix stuff, trying to analyze it, trying to make it work. Anybody in this room trying to make stuff work in their life today? I think we all are in one way or another. And so most of us have a history of living an agitated life in one way or another, somewhere along the line. If you are one of the very lucky ones who is living in grace at this moment and you're not experiencing one area of agitation, I applaud you. I celebrate you. But most of us have had some agitation. We probably have some agitation today about something, and we'd like to be happy. Yes? We'd like to find happiness within that. And so when I say happy, sometimes people go, happy is such a trite word. When I say happy, I'm talking about the Buddhist idea of happiness, this idea of basic well-being, this idea of peace of mind, this idea of this being in balance, not crashing to one side or the other of life, but being in balance. This is what I mean when I say happy today. This happiness is about that, this peace of mind, this basic sense of well-being. And so most of us, when we recognize that we're unhappy, we also, if we look deeply, may recognize we're a little nervous, right? We're a little bit impatient around whatever that experience is. There's this sense of not being easy with whatever that is. We feel like we're driven, right? Driven by fear, driven by pain, driven by doubt that anything's ever going to change. I was talking to my son about a friend of his, and she sometimes gets very ill, and actually I go there myself. It's like, oh my God, I feel icky. It's going to be like this forever. I'm going to die feeling like this. I'm never going to get better. My life is never going to change. I'm going to be in this deep, sorrowful pain of this relationship for the rest of my life. I'm going to be overcome by whatever this is. Do you ever get there? Where you're just driven by so much fear and pain that the idea of opening into this basic happiness or this sense of well-being just completely eludes you. I know that's this morning, as I was waiting to get on the platform this morning, I told Glenn, I said, I can't believe it, I have a headache again. And in that moment, with the migraine headache, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is my life, I've got this migraine headache. So you do something about it and everything's fine. But sometimes we're just driven by this hell-bent activity. Oh my God, this, oh my God, oh my God, this agitation. And everything seems real urgent, right? And we're seeking anything but what's happening in the moment. Anything. We want to be someplace else, doing something different than we're doing. Because we think that might make us happy, like Adyashanti says. We chase it, looking for it someplace else. We're busy getting to the future. I like what Adyashanti says. We're busy, getting someplace else, because where we are right now is just not where we want to be. Anybody else relate to that in one way or another? It seems to me that when I'm in this place, the harder I try, the more hurried I get, the further away I seem to be from what I'm seeking. It's like I get so wrapped up in the process of, oh my God, that I never really can get into that space of quiet mind, that space of well-being, that space of happiness that we're talking about. And part of it is that I have a right to be happy. I have a right to be happy. And doggone it, when I'm not happy, something's wrong. Happiness is my role in life. And everything else that gets in the way, I see as a problem. But what I can tell you is that just the mere recognition that I want to be happy allows me to step into setting the intention to move away from the chaos of the agitation so that I can actually be happy in the moment. Be happy. I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And I tell people in my life, why can't you just be happy? Why can't you just be happy? Anybody that has kids that are in trouble, why can't you just be happy? What's wrong with you? See? All the shoulds. We think we should be happy, and then we do everything that's counterproductive to being happy because we're so darn agitated all the time, looking for it. We just forget that if we just breathe and we just settle into whatever is going on in the moment, that is where we have an opportunity to actually experience a sense of well-being. It's nowhere else. It's nowhere else. It's right where we are, moment by moment by moment. So I want to mention that one of the reasons that I picked this particular John Denver song is because this song I think came from like the 1970s, 74, somewhere in that range. And I remember going to a concert, a John Denver concert someplace up in Los Angeles. And when I heard this song, my life was in chaos. 1970s, my life was in chaos. It was my first experience of betrayal in my marriage, and I was trying to figure it out. Was pretty agitated. I didn't feel very good. I had some health concerns. I was very confused. A lot of scary stuff was going on in my life. And I heard the lyrics to that song that find a place that is cool and green and shady. And I don't know if you caught the lyrics, but it says, a place to hide. A place to hide. And I thought, yeah, that's what I want. I want someplace that's got white picket fence and everything's clean and white and cool and green and shady, and I just want to go there and camp out. I don't want to be in the midst of all this chaos and agitation. And every time I hear this song, it reminds me of that mindset, that deep longing, that dream for that kind of easiness. And what I didn't know then, what I know now is, what I was really longing for was this sense of well-being, this deep inner peace, this place within me that is always within me, but I just didn't know. I didn't know. This place where, I could get some breathing room. The truth is, I wanted a refuge at that time. Anybody ever need a refuge? Yeah. I wanted to be safe. I wanted it to be quiet. I wanted a retreat because what was going on out there was just too painful, too fearful. And the invitation of cool and green and shady was very attractive to me. Those of you who are into working with the chakra know what color is the heart chakra. Green. Green. Move into the heart. Move out of this part that's got it, the agitation going, trying to fix it and figure it out, and drop down into the cool, green, shady place, which is the heart. So that's what we all want. So I found this little cartoon. I don't know, does anyone know who this little guy is?
It's Droopy.
Droopy.
So and he talks like this, and so if he said, he'd be like, you know what, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, this is what the invitation is, to take a look at your life. See, he's kind of standing there, just kind of like all, and finally we wake up and go, well, wait a minute. If I'm really present, and I'm not trying to figure everything out, wait a minute. You know what? I'm happy. I'm happy. In this moment, I'm happy. See? Because when we're chasing it and looking for it, he's not looking for a darn thing. He's just standing there propped up against the door jamb, right? Taking it easy, taking a little breather, and he's relaxing, and he gives himself time to breathe into that heart space that says, you know what? I'm happy. So this is an invitation for all of us. The more agitated we get, the more fearful we get, the more spinning we do in our life experience, the more we rush around trying to get everything in place, the less likely we are to be able to stand back against the door jamb and say, you know what? In this moment, right now, in this experience, licking this ice cream cone, I'm happy. In this moment, with this group of people, sharing a taco, I'm happy. What happens is we get distracted by whatever else is, like we say, we're busy getting into the future. Yeah, the ice cream cone is really good right now, but when I leave this ice cream cone, then what? And that's this part of us that's working. Children experience happiness all the time. Those of you who have grandchildren, children in your families, children in your neighborhoods, work with children. Those of you who are connected with children know that children know how to be happy. They don't have to think about it. They just are. They're also capable of throwing monstrous tantrums, and that's what kids do too. But for the most part, children know how to be happy. They don't have to look for it. It's just the simplicity of whatever the moment is. They're happy. And so all of us, we've been kids. Anybody remember childhood? What it was like when you were a child? When whatever your favorite thing to do was. One of my favorite things to do as a child was to help my grandma with the laundry. She had one of those wringer washer things. We got the laundry out with the stick and ran it through the wringer and into the bluing. Whatever you can remember of being happy times. The simplicity of a happy time where there's nothing pressing to do. We just are. We're just being. We're just being who we really are. Put all the thinking aside and then just experience whatever it is in the moment. This invitation to be like little children, to be that energy. I'm not saying to be childish. I'm saying to be childlike, to embrace life at that level. You know who's one of the great masters of being childlike? The Dalai Lama. There's a story of the Dalai Lama I'm going to use to wrap up my part of the talk. I love this story. Many of you have heard it, and you may have heard it from this platform. Dalai Lama went to this enormous gathering. I think it was at Madison Square Garden in New York. Big, huge gathering. He was going to give some sort of a Dharma talk. And it was celebrities and very involved and yada yada, and lights, camera, action sort of thing, and dignitaries. And he walks in, and he just, if you've ever seen the Dalai Lama in person or on a video or anything, he's always just smiling, not in a hurry, just kind of moves through life with grace and with dignity and with a deep sense of being fully present in the moment. And in order to make him very comfortable, as he gave his Dharma talks, the organizers of the conference put a huge stack of mattresses, big giant stack of mattresses, for him to sit on while he gave his talk. And so he does what he's supposed to do. He comes in, walks up, they have a little ladder thing so he can climb up on top of this big pile of mattresses. And so he gets on top of the mattresses. Mind you, Madison Square Garden is filled with thousands and thousands, probably tens of thousands of people. And he sits down, and all of a sudden, the childlike nature of the Dalai Lama recognizes the bounce. Okay, so you've got this big event, right? And you've got the Dalai Lama sitting there bouncing and enjoying the sensation of sitting on a giant stack of mattresses. This is what I'm talking about. Fully present, in the moment, relishing whatever is, not worried about what he's going to say to the group, not worried about the thousands of people and the dignitaries and the photos and all that. Fully present. He may have had an upset stomach on the way up to that mattress experience. But in that moment, oh, this is cool, it bounces. This is what I'm talking about. This full presence, this capacity to be fully present, where we can actually slow down, be present, experience the moment, stop thinking about all this stuff, stop chasing whatever it is you think you don't have. Like Adyashanti says, stop chasing happiness and happiness happens. Live life deeply, but live it very lightly. Savor every moment with this sense of this deliciousness that life is. And make a commitment. When you leave here today, make a commitment to be happy. Just be happy. Whatever's going on, put it in proper perspective, align the head and the heart, get the pulse of the head and the pulse of the heart in sync, and allow yourself to be fully present. And I love the lyrics. Go ahead. find a cool, green, shady place to lay down, but not to hide. Not to hide. To let your spirit fly free.